Right now, significant developments are emerging in Canadian public institutions. Former Supreme Court Justice Louise Arbour has been named as Canada's next Governor-General. Official announcements confirm the appointment of one of Canada's most respected legal minds to the country's highest ceremonial and constitutional role. Here's what verified sources are telling us and what you need to know. But what does this appointment mean? Why was Louise Arbour chosen? And what could it signal for Canada's future? Let's break down the facts. Welcome back to Canada Pulse, your trusted source for fact-based updates on Canadian public policy, economy, housing, and national developments. We use verified information from official government sources, credible news outlets, and expert analysis to help you understand what's really happening in Canada. I'm your host, and today we're examining the appointment of former Supreme Court Justice Louise Arbour as Canada's next Governor-General, using only confirmed information and responsible interpretation. Now, if you're interested in Canadian democracy, institutions, or simply want to understand how key national roles are filled, this appointment may influence how Canadians view leadership, justice, and constitutional traditions in the years ahead. I want to be clear, we're going to walk through this together, step by step, using only what we know for certain, what experts are saying, and what official sources have confirmed. No hype, no guessing. Just facts. If you want to stay updated as this story evolves, and trust me, it will continue developing, make sure you're subscribed to Canada Pulse and hit that notification bell so you don't miss critical updates. Before we continue, a quick disclaimer. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered financial, legal, or professional advice. Always verify information with official Canadian government sources like Canada.ca and consult qualified professionals for personal decisions. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of what's happening right now, why it matters to Canadians, what the potential outcomes could be, and most importantly, what to watch for next. All right, let's start from the beginning. To understand what's happening today, we need to look at how we got here. Here's the thing, the role of Governor-General is one of Canada's most important constitutional positions. It represents the Crown in Canada, performs ceremonial duties, and holds reserve powers in our parliamentary democracy. Louise Arbour has had a distinguished career. She served as a Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada from 1999 to 2004. Before that, she was a judge on the Ontario Court of Appeal. Internationally, she served as Chief Prosecutor for the International Criminal Tribunals for the former Yugoslavia and Rwanda, and later as UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. Fast forward to today, Prime Minister Carney announced the appointment of Louise Arbour as the next Governor-General. This marks a significant choice. Inadimor sei in asazidaimer, and say a highly respected jurist with deep experience in law, human rights, and international affairs. Why does this matter? The Governor-General plays a key unifying role above politics. Arbour's background brings strong credentials in justice, integrity, and public service at a time when institutions face increasing scrutiny. So that brings us to what's happening right now. And this is where things get interesting. First, the official announcement. According to the Prime Minister's office, Louise Arbour was selected for her exceptional record of service, independence, and commitment to Canadian values. In simple terms, this is a nonpartisan appointment focused on experience and credibility. The impact here could strengthen public confidence in key institutions, depending on how she carries out the role. Second, Arbour becomes the first former Supreme Court Justice to serve as Governor-General in modern times, bringing deep legal expertise to the position. Third, this appointment continues a tradition of diverse and accomplished Canadians representing the Crown. Early signals show widespread positive reactions across party lines. Experts suggest this may bring a steady, principled voice to the role. Potentially, we might see emphasis on rule of law and institutional respect. Depending on how this unfolds, it could serve as a unifying figure during complex times. Now, let's dig deeper into what analysts and experts are saying about all of this. Constitutional scholars note that Arbour's legal background will serve her well in understanding reserve powers and constitutional conventions. Policy observers highlight her international experience as valuable for Canada's global standing. Okay, so here's where it gets a bit technical, but stay with me. The Governor-General's role is largely ceremonial, but includes important constitutional functions during minority governments or crises. In plain English, Arbour brings credibility and depth to these responsibilities. Multiple perspectives exist. Supporters praise her independence and intellect. Some commentators note her strong human rights record may shape how she approaches public duties. Overall, the appointment has been received as a high-caliber choice. All right, let's make this personal. Who exactly is affected by this and how? For most Canadians, the Governor-General's role is symbolic but important for national unity and tradition. This appointment may reinforce trust in public institutions. Students and young Canadians interested in law, public service, or diplomacy may find inspiration in Arbour's distinguished path. Small business owners and homeowners may not see direct daily impact, but stable, respected institutions contribute to overall confidence in Canada's governance. Now, I know this might feel like high-level news, but remember, we're talking about a key national appointment that reflects Canada's values and leadership choices. A lot will depend on how the role is performed in practice. One thing that's really important to understand, this doesn't affect every part of Canada the same way, but it carries symbolic importance nationwide. By the way, drop a comment and let me know which province you're watching from. I'm curious to see where our Canada Pulse community is tuning in from today. So, what is the federal government actually doing about this? Let's look at the official response. Prime Minister Carney described Arbour as an outstanding Canadian who will serve with distinction. The appointment follows the usual consultation process and has received support from across party lines. Opposition parties have offered congratulations while noting the importance of the role remaining above politics. This reflects a moment of broad institutional consensus. Okay, before we go further, I need to address some misinformation that's circulating online about this topic. Myth number 1, this is a highly partisan appointment. Reality, Louise Arbour has a long record of independent service. She is widely respected across different political backgrounds. Myth number 2, the Governor-General has sweeping new powers. Reality, the role remains largely ceremonial with well-defined constitutional functions. No change in powers has occurred. Myth number 3, this signals a major shift in Canadian foreign or domestic policy. Reality, the Governor-General is a representative figure, not a policymaker. Day-to-day policy remains with the elected government. This is exactly why it's so important to rely on official sources like Canada.ca, verified news outlets, and credible expert analysis. At Canada Pulse, we commit to fact-checking everything we present. Alright, so now that you understand what's happening, let's talk about what you can actually do with this information. First, bookmark official Canadian government websites. The main one is Canada.ca for updates on this appointment and other national matters. Second, this situation is still developing as we await the formal installation. Follow credible Canadian news sources like CBC, CTV, Globe, and Mail, and stay subscribed to Canada Pulse. Third, if you're interested in Canada's institutions, consider learning more about the role of the Governor-General through official resources. Fourth, preparation is smart, panic is not. This is a standard constitutional appointment. Finally, if you have views on national institutions, remember you have a voice. Contact your Member of Parliament. Participate in public discussions. Democracy works when citizens are informed and engaged. So, where does this go from here? Let me give you a roadmap of what to watch for. In the immediate future, watch for the formal swearing-in ceremony and Arbour's first public statements in the role. Over the next few months, observe how she approaches her duties and any emphasis she places on key themes. Looking further ahead, the big questions involve how this appointment is received by Canadians over time and how it contributes to national unity. What do you think about this appointment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're from a specific province, let us know what you're most interested in seeing from the new Governor-General. All right, let's wrap this up. So here's what we know for certain. Former Supreme Court Justice Louise Arbour has been named Canada's next Governor-General. This situation is still developing as preparations for the transition continue. What we can say with confidence is that Canada has selected a highly accomplished and respected figure for this important role. What remains uncertain is how her tenure will unfold in practice. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this changes everything overnight, because it doesn't. But I'm also not going to pretend it doesn't matter, because the Governor-General is a key symbol of Canadian continuity and unity. Stay informed by following verified updates from official sources. Subscribe to Canada Pulse if you haven't already. We'll continue covering this as it develops, with facts without fear-mongering. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who wants to understand Canada's institutions better. And most importantly, stay engaged, stay informed, and stay level-headed. I'm your host. This is Canada Pulse, and I'll see you in the next update. Take care.